Hey guys, what's up? It's Modern Modeler 16 here today. Today's going to be the first series of my new layout, which is an engine facility, but what we're going to be going into today is DCC, and its most basic form for all you people who don't understand the forums and the other YouTube videos that have been made about it. So I figured while I already set it up, I figured I'd make a video about how it works. Okay guys, so on the inside of the booklet there is a diagram. The first page, literally. Just open it up, it unfolds. So this is basically how your system would look. It comes with a PCP panel, your throttle, your power cab, which is the DCC system, a power supply, and a clip that goes in the back of the PCP panel for your leads to the track. So the way DCC works is you have wires, one wire feeding off each rail, so they're separate. You can never mix the wires, you'll get a short. So what you do is you take the one wire from each rail and you put it into the little clip that I'll show you later that plugs in the PCP panel just to keep everything segregated, and then you plug it all together and it runs magically. So I'll show you how I wired up my layout. Okay guys, so there are pretty much two ways to wire your layout. The first is using wire drops, which is basically telephone wire or between 18 and 22 gauge wire soldered to the outside of the rail heads. You have to keep it color coded, of course, because that's you have to keep the wires segregated. So for my example, it doesn't follow the correct code, but I use white as my inside track, or the closest to us. So I have white wires going to the rails here, and then blue, which is the outside color, going to the back rails here and here. So I've made wires. I have another switch like this reverse on the other end of the layout, and it's the exact same design. You always have to keep the blue wires on the blue rail and the white wires on the white rail. If you get them mixed up, this will cause a short, and then your trains won't work. So I also had another method, which is to take these alligator clips. This is a lot quicker. It can be done fairly easily. You clip one on each side. It doesn't matter orientation as long as you keep them segregated. And then you hook it up to the wires connecting to your DCC system, which I'll show you. And then it runs. This is kind of an eyesore, and it really only works if you have a very, very small layout, like a programming track or what I'm doing in engine facility, because you don't get a constant voltage throughout the track when you get a greater distance of track. So that's why people do the first method I showed you, wire leads that go to a bus or a barrier strip, and they usually have a bus line running around the layout. So let's get onto the layout, and I'll explain to you what all these terms are. Okay guys, so I apologize in advance for the shakiness of this, but I have to go handheld because this is under the layout and in a pretty tight space. So anyway, what I was explaining is this is called a barrier strip. Some of you guys who've ever wired anything probably know what a barrier strip is, but for those you don't, that's what it is. You can get them at Radio Shack and electrical places for relatively cheap, $5, maybe $10, maybe cheaper, it depends on where you go. Radio Shack was kind of expensive, so I went to a brick and mortar shop and got it for pretty cheap. But anyway, so what I was saying is that I have two strips here. The first one is for all the white wires, and the back one is for all the blue wires. So the way this works is this wire right here, I suggest you use an end, goes straight to the DCC system. Now, I found this out when I first did this. All your drops, at least one of your drops has to be on the other side, the direct other side, right here, this one, of the barrier strip to get it to work. So what I did is I have all my leads coming off from different directions, because I have the one switch is over there, and then I have another switch over here where all the wires are soldered on. Okay guys, so here is the PCP panel. This is what you get in the box of the DCC system. So this is the plug that goes to your power supply. These are your two track feeder wires, the blue, which I already mentioned is the outside rail, and the white, which is the inside rail. Here is the flat wire. This is what goes to the DCC controller. If you were using this on, say, your buddy's layout, as a ProCab or an additional cab, you'd use the 4-wire curly Q that comes in the pack as well, but you don't use that if you're just using on your own system. So yeah, it's a pretty simple setup, and well, now I'll show you how it works. Alright guys, so I've showed you all the stages up until now. We've gone through the soldering of wires to the rails, how it connects to the PCP panel. So this is the part that you get to hold. This is the power cab, your remote. There's a socket right here that this end of the 6-wire cable goes into. So when I plug this in, I should get track power, and I put a sound-equipped locomotive on the track so that it's obvious to tell when it's on. So it'll go through, the power cab goes through all its various functions and should get power. There we go. Alright, so for right now, I'm going to assume you guys know how to use a power cab or a ProCab from NCE. If you don't and you'd like to know how, I'll run through the functions and how to operate in a later video if requested. So if you want to learn how to use this, I'll run through it in a later video. Just leave in the comments section. Alright, so thanks guys for watching. As you can see, it's a pretty simple installation, lots of fun. It's about $150, so DCC, the way to go. Separate control over your locomotives and features and more cool sound and lighting operations. So yeah, thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you in a later video. Alright.